West Radio. Joining me in the studio today is Valerie Singleton. Hello, Valerie. How are you?
Hello, Scott. Nice to see you.
And you. And it's great to have you in the Midwest studios today. Such a career that you've had over the last, however many years? 50 years?
I'm afraid it is. Something like that. Actually, it might even be longer, because when I left drama school, I never had a gap year. I left drama school and went straight to rep. I was very lucky, really, when I look back on it. Went straight to repertory in Bromley, and then really went straight from one job to another. Looking back, when I think how difficult it is today for people to get work, I was amazingly lucky. And I was doing a lot of theatre then, a lot of voiceovers for commercials. I had sort of 5 years doing lots of different things before I went to be a continuity announcer at the BBC.
Now, you had an interview with Graham Norton just a couple of weeks ago.
I did. That was great fun, yes. I had met Graham once before when he was doing his show. I think it was at Channel 4 he used to do it on.
Yes, I think
and
it was,
I like Graham very much, and I'm a great fan of the new show too.
Excellent. So, talking of the BBC, obviously you went there as a continuity announcer for the first part of your career, and then, of course, Blue Peter. Mm. How was that?
Well, it came about rather strangely. I was doing continuity announcing, and I'd go down to the club. I was actually at the time doing French lessons in the lycée in South Kensington, and I would sort of need to rush off at about, I don't know, 5:30 or something. And I ended up playing spoof with the Z-Cars gang. I was actually quite good at spoof. And I'd say, I've got to go for my French class. And they'd say, oh, don't be silly, you don't need to go. But no, so I wouldn't go. And then gradually the weeks passed, I got better and better at spoof and worse and worse at French. And one day bumped into Chris Trace, who said, I'm doing this programme called Blue Peter, which in those days was a once-a-week, tiny little 15-minute programme. And he said, we're looking for a girl. Would you like to audition? Well, I had a job, didn't I, on the 4th floor doing continuity announcing. I didn't really care if I got it or not, but I thought, well, I might as well. And I auditioned. Actually, funnily enough, I didn't get it. Somebody else did, but then 6 months later she fell out, and they came back to me. They wrote a very tactful letter. They didn't say, you know, we think she's prettier and better than you. They said, you know, you've already got a job and she hasn't, so we thought it would be fair if we gave it to her.
And then 6 months down the line,
and then 6 months later, for various reasons, she left and I went in.
Now, we're not going to talk too much about Blue Peter, but obviously one name I would like to mention to you, Lulu.
Now, who could Lulu be? I think you might be talking about a baby elephant.
Absolutely.
Do you know she's no longer with us?
Is she not?
No, she's in elephant heaven.
Oh.
And also so is her keeper.
Oh, really? Now, was that the chap? Because if you watch this on YouTube, you can.
It is still on YouTube.
It is still on YouTube.
Do you know, this is probably why I have suddenly started getting, I mean, I'm not doing as much television as I used to, but via my agent, I am now getting requests for my autograph from all over the world. They're coming in from Russia, from China, from Latvia, from Lithuania, from Poland, from Germany, from Argentina. Wonderful English. The English is just lovely. And requesting my autograph. I don't know what it is they've seen, but I've got a horrible feeling if it's me in my 20s, they're going to get a shock when they get a picture of me now. It's quite a nice picture, but it's me a lot older than I was in my 20s.
Well, they're probably still watching you on YouTube, and the amount of comments underneath are really quite staggering. Quite a few people around the world, thousands and thousands of views.
I will have to go into
so
YouTube and have a look.
To check that up on
I hope
YouTube.
They're nice comments.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How funny.
Was that live, or was that pre-recorded?
No, it was done as live, but it was for a long time, Pete Purvis and I thought it was live, but it was actually recorded as live, but the day before it went out.
Right.
So there was no editing or cutting or anything like that.
So it was pretty much as
yes.
live. And then after Blue Peter, you stayed on the show as a roving reporter for a few years.
Yes, it was very strange because it was decided that it was time for me to sort of move on, and Nationwide asked me to join them to present a series called Consumer Unit. It was a spot once a week. And I was actually asked to go on to that by a producer on Nationwide called Bernard Wiggins, who of course is now the very, very successful author Bernard Cornwell. And so Bernard's really responsible for my career in adult telly. But it was very funny because as soon as I got Nationwide, it was like Blue Peter suddenly thought, you know, heck, she's ours. I think they thought I'd fade into oblivion.
And to anyone who wasn't around in the early 70s, Nationwide isn't the building society. Was it kind of a one show?
Oh, it was a one.
It was
better than the one show.
Much better.
It was a lovely show. Everybody who worked on Nationwide absolutely loved it. It was a fantastic show. Great fun, wonderful team, great camaraderie. And didn't travel on it anywhere except sort of around Britain, but it was a really nice show to work on. And anyway, that led to Blue Peter asking me to do Blue Peter special assignments. So that was cities. I did about 2 or 3 years cities around the world. So I did, every city in Europe and in Britain as well. Then I did islands, Skye, Isle of Man, Malta, Hong Kong.
Wow.
And then I think we were running out of money and it went to houses. We did houses in this country, like Darwin's house and Keats' house. And then that was the end of it, and I went on to Nationwide.
And you did travel, you've done travel writing as
well? The travel writing, I often think that I've done something different every decade, if I look back. So Blue Peter in the 60s, Nationwide in the 70s, Money Programme and PM in the 80s. Through one friend who was in the travel industry, he got me a trip to Botswana, I think it was, no, Zambia. And I remember I'd already been given time off to do a programme called Travel UK, which sadly didn't get a second series, although I think it should have done. And I thought, my editor's never going to let me have more time off. And he agreed, and I went off on this great trip and met Alistair Mackenzie, who was just about to present the classic FM travel show. And so Alistair said, when I left PM, I rang him and said, can I do anything? And he said, well, how's about you get a tape recorder and travel the world and do a few pieces for me. So to start with, my travel writing was really travel recording.
Excellent.
And then gradually, as that changed on Classic FM, I started writing pieces.
It must be quite nice to look at each decade and see the different things that you've done and how you've progressed through the years. And of course, you're in this part of the world these days, and you're moving into business.
Well, I moved down here about 7 years ago to the country. I mean, I was a country girl. I was brought up in the country, so I'm kind of at different bits of the country. So I'm kind of used to cows and crows and sheep. It's mostly sheep around me. And I'd just done a Money Programme film on people who started businesses in their 60s. And I was contacted by an old television colleague who said, we're starting a company called Discount Aid, which you pay £10 a year annual membership and you get lovely discounts on different products and ideas and holidays. And so we started that and had a nice launch about 18 months ago. I then introduced him to Guy Wigley, who is the person who looked after my computer down here with Wessex Computers, and the three of us formed a company called Simplicity Computers, which was a computer aimed not just at older people, but mostly it's older people who find computers pretty scary. And we have sold them to people who are in their 40s and said, I love them. But they don't have all the complications. You know, they're much easier to use. They just give you the basic things you need. And that's doing very well. And that's based on the Babylon Roundabout. So anybody's interested, they can go in there and have a look. Can I tell you, because when I was on Graham Norton's show, he asked me about it, and I said, can I give you the free phone number? And he said, well, we'll put it on our website. Completely forgetting, of course, that if people didn't have a computer, they couldn't look at a website. So people were desperately trying to track us down that day, saying, well, I don't have a computer, so I couldn't. Can I give the phone number?
Of course you can.
I think we give it when I do the Midwest radio weather. But
I think you are, yes. Give it to us again.
Okay, it's 0800 028 0417.
And tell us about because you're in Bournemouth at the International Centre as well in October.
Yes, that's a show, I think it's called the Fab at 50 Plus show. And that's going to be fun for me because I had a boyfriend who appeared in The End of the Pier. Late 60s, early 70s. No, I think it was early 70s. And he rented a house at Sandbanks. I suspect he probably wishes he'd bought it now. And so I used to commute. I would go up and down. I practically lived down in this part of the world and used to go up to do Blue Peter. And had great fun because he was lent a beach hut down at Studland. So I'd queue up every day and go across on the little ferry. And I loved it. We used to go blackberry picking on Brownsea Island, and we used to water ski out in the Poole Harbour.
Wow.
So it'll be very nice because since I've been down here, I haven't gone back to Bournemouth or Poole. So I'm looking forward to that.
Lovely part of the world.
Yes, and we're doing it at the beginning of October.
Yes, that's Friday the 1st and Saturday the 2nd of October.
And then I've been asked to do the Dorset Business Awards in early December. I think it's the 6th of December. And that's in Poole, which is lovely because I did a lot of things like that in the 80s, lots of presentations, big companies interviewing people, doing conferences, which I loved. Excellent. So that'll sort of be nice to do that again. And of course I can do some Christmas shopping in Poole.
Absolutely. And it looks like it's going to be another exciting decade for you to look back on.
Yes. Oh, and I've also got some nice travel coming up. I might be going to Syria.
Oh, wow.
Which would be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. So if people want to find out more, they can obviously come down and see you at the BIC 1st or 2nd of October.
Yes, because we're going to have a Simplicity stand there, and we can show people how it works and what it looks like.
Excellent.
And then people can, if they live in the area, they can see it on if they've got if they have to go perhaps to a friend's computer or a child or something, a daughter or son who's got a computer. But they can actually ring up if they want to, if they're anywhere in this area. We're between Yeovil and Sherborne. Come make an appointment, come in and try it out for themselves.
Excellent.
Or see it at the exhibition. I'm looking forward to that. It sounds a fun couple of days.
Sounds very good indeed. Well, Valerie, thank you.
And I am over 50 and I am fab, aren't I?
You are fab. And thank you very much for coming in today. And check out YouTube You must
will.
see
Yes,
Lulu.
yes, I will do. Thank you very much for mentioning that.
Thank you for
Good to
coming in
talk
to see
you,
us
Scott.
today. Thank you.
Love local. Love Midwest Radio.